All right, so the second element of the big three is shutter speed. Shutter speed controls two things for us. It also controls the amount of light that will be coming into our camera. So like we showed you in the very beginning, light's going to pass through the lens and then it's going to go through the shutter. So the longer we have that shutter open, the more light that's going to be coming in. So if you think of it as like a floodgate at a river or something like that, the longer those floodgates lift, that water is going to be pouring in through there. So if they open really wide for a long amount of time, then water is going to be flooding through there, just like light will be doing with this camera. But if it opens and closes really fast, then only a little bit of water will come. So if our shutter speed is fast, then only a little bit of light will burst through the camera. All right, the second thing that shutter speed is going to control for us is the motion in a photograph. So the faster that our shutter speed is, the more things that will be frozen in the photograph. So if we have a shutter speed like I just showed you that's really slow, what's going to happen is everything's going to be really blurry. So a good rule of thumb is usually 1/60th of a second is a good for a handheld photograph. Things are probably going to be pretty much frozen for you if people aren't moving around too much. So talking about how shutter speed is actually measured, it is measured in seconds, but more likely the speeds that we'll be using are actually going to be fractions of a second. So for instance, 1/1000th of a second is it's pretty fast shutter speed. I'll let you hear what that sounds like. So at speeds like this, we're going to be freezing that motion and restricting the amount of light that is coming into the camera. Now if I go slower, so this is actually a full second. You can hear that. So the motion in the photograph will be blurry, and a lot of light will be flooding into our camera and hitting that sensor. And I like to think of it like this. If you imagine a car speeding, and as that speedometer is climbing and the car is going faster and faster, the denominator of that fraction of a second, so 1/1000th, 1/1600th of a second, is going to need to climb just like as that speedometer climbs. In order to freeze that car in motion, that denominator number is going to have to keep climbing up as well.